Things may be moving slowly across the NFL right now, but for anyone who follows the San Francisco 49ers closely, you already know there's no such thing as downtime, even in the offseason. This team keeps giving us things to talk about, and while we're waiting for training camp to really heat up, something interesting just dropped. A defensive lineman hit the market this week, and honestly, he might be one of the more underrated names out there that could actually help this Niners defense right away. Now, I'm not saying he's a game changer or a superstar, but in a system like San Francisco's, especially under a guy like Chris Kukurek, he could become a real problem for opposing offenses. We're talking about someone with the kind of explosiveness and motor that could add serious depth to a position group that, let's be honest, you can never really have too much talent in dot, so let's get into it. Okoronkwo, former 5th-round pick out of Oklahoma, originally drafted by the Los Angeles Rams back in 2019, has quietly built himself a respectable career as a rotational pass rusher. Standing at 6'2" and around 150 pounds, he's not the biggest guy out there, but when he's coming off the edge with speed and leverage, he's the type of player that can collapse a pocket and make quarterbacks uncomfortable. In his rookie year with the Rams, he had 1.5 sacks for QB hits and 1 tackle for loss. Nothing eye-popping, but for a mid-round pick getting limited snaps, that's solid. Year 2 was more of the same: 1 sack, 3 QB hits, another tackle for loss, and again, only 10 games played. But then in 2021, he started to show signs of growth, bumping up to 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and 6 quarterback hits. Then came a shift. In 2022, he signed with the Houston Texans, and that's where things really took a step forward, playing in all 17 games. Okoronkwo recorded 5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, and 11 quarterback hits. Not bad at all. For a rotational edge rusher, he brought energy, disruption, and showed a level of consistency that made him stand out in an otherwise underwhelming Texans defense. And here's where it gets interesting for 49ers fans. Over the past 2 seasons, Okoronkwo has been playing under Jim Schwartz in Cleveland, a coach known for his aggressive front and someone who runs a wide 9 alignment, a system almost identical to what the Niners deploy under Kukurek. That scheme familiarity, huge. In 2023, he had 4.5 sacks, and the year before that, 3 sacks. Not crazy numbers, but keep in mind he wasn't a full-time starter. He was still part of a rotation, and his pressure rate has remained steady. He had 24 pressures last season, which was actually his lowest since 2021. But he's still showing that burst, that twitch off the edge that got him drafted in the first place. I was honestly a bit surprised when the Browns let him go. It's not like he was underperforming. He's a reliable depth piece who brings value in obvious passing downs. And when you've got a guy who can rush the passer, knows the system, and won't break the bank, that's the kind of player you want to keep. But now he's available. And for a team like the Niners that just invested heavily in their defensive line this offseason, he could be the final piece to shore up the rotation. Remember, this is a front that already features Nick Bosa, who, when healthy, is a top 3 edge rusher in the league. And now they've added Bryce Huff via trade, a guy who had 10 sacks 2 seasons ago with the Jets under Robert Saleh, and brings that speed rush element off the edge that Kukurek loves. They also use a high draft pick on Michael Williams, taken 11th overall, and the expectations are sky high for him. The talent is obvious, and today's actually his birthday, so shout out to the rookie. But rookies take time to develop, even the great ones. You don't want to put too much on their plate right away. That's where a guy like Okoronkwo could come in and take some of the pressure off. He's not just depth, he's proven production, especially when used situationally. The Niners also brought in Alfred Collins and CJ West through the draft. That's more reinforcements along the line, and it shows they know this is a group that needs constant attention. You can never have too many pass rushers in today's NFL. The game is faster than ever. Quarterbacks are getting the ball out quicker, and having fresh legs that can consistently generate pressure without having the blitz is the ultimate luxury. Now let's talk about the rest of the rotation. You've got Yetur Gross-Matos, who's been brought in as a backup option. And then there's Sam Okoyinu, who kind of came out of nowhere last season and really flashed some potential. He's got that non-stop motor, that chip on his shoulder mentality you love to see in a depth guy. He's versatile too, can play inside and out depending on the package, but behind them, it gets a little thin. Robert Beal Jr., former 5th-round pick out of Georgia, is kind of on the roster bubble right now. He hasn't shown a ton of juice. as a pass rusher, and you start to wonder if his spot is safe. That's why Okoronkwo makes a lot of sense. He's already shown he can be more productive than a guy like Beal. And even compared to Okoronkwo or Gross Matos, you can make the argument that he's just a better, more proven player. Another thing that stands out with Okoronkwo is his pass rush technique. He's not just a speed guy, he's got moves. He can bend the edge, use his hands effectively, and finish when he gets close. Back in that 2020 season with the Texans, he ranked 15th among edge rushers with at least 100 pass rush snaps in terms of pass rush grade. That's impressive. He was also 16th in pass rush win rate at 16.5%. That puts him in the same tier as some pretty big names. So yeah, this isn't just some random guy floating around the waiver wire. This is a player who, in the right system, with the right coaching, can give you legit production. And we've seen what Cornerback can do with players like that. He's turned rotational guys into legit contributors. Arden Key, Charles Omenihu, these were guys who came in with question marks and left with career years. If Okoronkwo signs in San Francisco, I fully believe Cornerback can tap into that 2020 form again. It's not a guarantee, but the fit is there, the scheme, the coaching, the opportunity, all of it lines up. And just think about how that helps the overall depth chart. Right now, if Bosa were to miss time or need a breather, you're looking at a combination of Huff, Gross Matos, and maybe a rookie to pick up the slack. Add Okoronkwo to that mix, and suddenly you're not scrambling. You've got someone who's been there, done that, and can slide right in without the defense missing a beat. He's also durable, played all 17 games in 2022, and didn't miss much time in 2023 either. Availability matters, especially over a long season where injuries are inevitable. Now shifting gears a bit, something else caught my attention recently. The Niners reportedly showed interest in a former first-round pick at cornerback before he signed elsewhere. That player, Damon Arnett. Yeah, the same Damon Arnett who was taken by the Raiders in the first round out of Ohio State back in 2020. His NFL career got off to a rough start, only 13 games played over the seasons, a bunch of off-the-field issues, and he basically flamed out of the league. But here's the thing, he got a second chance in the UFL, played for the Houston Roughnecks this past season, and apparently turned some heads. He had 18 tackles, 5 pass breakups, 1 sack, and even took an interception to the house for a pick 6. Not bad numbers at all, and enough to earn him a 1-year contract with the Houston Texans just a couple of weeks ago. So why does this matter for the Niners? Because they were one of the teams that called to check in on him before he signed. That says something. That says they're aware of their depth concerns at cornerback. The starters are solid. Diamador Lenoir has only given up 1 touchdown in coverage over the last 3 years. Renardo Green looked great in his 7 starts last season. And Upton Stout is one of those freak athletes who can bench with the linebackers and run with the wideouts. But if any of those guys go down, that's when it gets dicey. Right now, the next man up is Trey Brown, a guy who's mostly played outside, but was being tried on the inside by the Niners. He's a former 4th-round pick who didn't get much action with Seattle. After him, there's not a whole lot of proven talent. They did draft Upton Stout and also picked up Mara Siegel, who's more of a hybrid nickel safety type, but they're short on true outside corners. That's where a guy like Arnett would have come in. He's a boundary corner who's played at the highest level, has the length and physicality, and clearly has the talent. The only question was maturity and whether he could stay out of trouble. From what people close to the UFL are saying, it sounds like he's turned a corner. And apparently, the Texans and Niners were the 2 teams showing the most interest, which makes sense when you think about the defensive schemes. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to For Niners Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are growing louder across the NFL landscape, and the latest buzz could shake the foundations of the powerhouse franchises. According to league insiders and social media murmurs, a potential blockbuster swap is reportedly in the works between the San Francisco 49ers and the Washington Commanders. The headline, Brandon AIYUK for Terry McLaurin, straight up, while nothing is official. Sources close to the situation suggest that both front offices have at least entertained the idea of a player-for-player trade involving their star wideouts. If it materializes, this could go down as one of the most eye-opening moves of the offseason. Brandon AIYUK, who has had a breakout season in Kyle Shanahan's high-powered offense, is entering the final year of his rookie deal with the 49ers, already stretched thin under the salary cap and facing tough decisions across the roster. Parting ways with AIYUK before an expensive extension might be a strategic play. AIYUK himself has fueled speculation with cryptic social media posts, leading fans to believe that his time in the Bay Area could be nearing its end. On the other side, Terry McLaurin remains the heart and soul of Washington's receiving corps. But with a new coaching staff and a rookie quarterback under center, the Commanders may be looking to reshape their offense. AIYUK, younger and perhaps a better fit for Cliff Kingsbury's system, could offer fresh explosiveness and a dynamic YAC yards after catch threat. The potential swap would raise plenty of questions. Would AIYUK thrive outside of Shanahan's meticulously crafted schemes? Could McLaurin, a proven route technician, become Brock Purdy's new favorite target in San Francisco? And perhaps most importantly, are these teams truly willing to roll the dice on such a high-stakes exchange? For now, it's all whispers and conjecture, but where there's smoke in the NFL, fire often follows. One thing is certain: if this deal does happen, it would send shockwaves through the league and redefine already intriguing offenses. Stay tuned. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.